Okay, so we are back with my special guest, Kim Simmons. Hello, Kim, and welcome
Hello.
to Let's Talk About It. This is a special edition called the Author's Lounge, and I wanted to welcome you today. Thank you so much for joining us.
And thank you for having me for the opportunity.
Sure,
Thank you.
sure, awesome. So, tell our audience you have a new book out. Is that correct? And so,
Yes.
tell us the name of your book and what inspired you in writing this book.
The book is Twisted Love. You can't see it.
Just
Twisted Love.
yes.
You
Uh
can't
huh.
see it. And I have a pen name by E.K. Sunshine. And I'll explain that later as I talk to explain why I have a pen name.
Okay, awesome. And so, Twisted Love. So, give us a little synopsis as to what Twisted Love is about. Just a
Okay, the
smidge.
full title is Twisted Love, a woman's journey through domestic violence.
Nice,
That's
nice.
what the book is mainly focused on, domestic violence.
Wow. And so that is really an important subject, something that, we really don't talk enough about.
Right, exactly.
And so what led you to putting this together?
Well, about close to like almost 30 years ago, really it is.
Mm-hmm.
When I was 28 years old, I was involved in a very serious domestic violence situation.
Mm.
And I'm blessed to be alive. I'm a domestic violence survivor. And I just wanted to just share my journey because it's very common. That's one thing that's sad. It
Yeah,
doesn't go away, unfortunately.
right.
um, People are still dealing with it today, and a lot of people figure it's just women, but it's also men
Yes, it is.
uh,
It
that
is.
are in these situations.
Mhm.
So I just, and it basically how I started the writing of it, because I've been writing the book for 10 years, honestly.
Right.
I'm like, I'm gonna write this book, I'm gonna do it. You know how you start something, you put it down, start it, put it down.
I know.
And I believe we all have a book in us. Everybody has their story.
We do.
We have something that we could put down to encourage someone, to inspire, or
Yeah.
just be relatable to people.
Right. Right.
And basically, I finished the book in 2021,
Hmm.
and I got kind of serious about it. I said, I'm going to finish this book. And really, what made me really go ahead and do it, of course, we had the pandemic in 2020.
Right. Right.
And I had already kind of started writing it. And I felt like there's no excuse. You got to do it because you're home, working from home, you know. And also, what really prompted me to do it at that time, just hearing the stats, how domestic violence went up in 2020.
Yeah.
And my heart went out to victims that could not leave. That was one of the best things for me to get away. You're in that situation.
Right.
If you have someone abusing you, you don't want to be with them 24/7. You're
Right.
trying to figure out how to leave.
Right.
But I just couldn't even just put my mind on how they got through that, that you were told to stay home
Right. Right.
because of the pandemic. So just like I said, hearing the stats had went up so much, I said, I'm gonna finish this book. I have to finish it
Wow. Wow.
and share my story, and hopefully it will help another woman or male. Like I said, it could be men or women.
Yes.
Um, and
Yeah.
that's basically how and why I really made myself just go ahead and finish it.
Wow. Well, I am so happy that you did because you're absolutely right. The pandemic did it sort of encapsulated all of the other issues that people go through because now
Correct.
you're you're pretty much in a prison at that point with
Exactly.
that you're trying to get away from. And so I'm sure that I feel for people too because abuse is not only physical, it is
Exactly.
mental and it's verbal. And so there's
Hmm.
a lot of components that go into that. And so when you talk about men and or women, kids, what have you, it can go, either way because of those components.
Right,
So
right.
I think that you really tapped into something that it needs to be looked at. It needs to be talked about more. People
Hmm.
need to get help. And
Exactly,
so this is a
exactly.
way of healing, a way of getting help, by reading your book,
Right.
reading your story. And I also agree with you 1000% that everybody has a story. We all have a story, and
We
it's
do.
really about, buckling down and sharing that because somebody needs to hear it. I said
Exactly,
this before,
exactly.
but it is so true. Somebody needs to hear it. What happens is when they hear the story that's similar to theirs or that they can relate to points in
Hmm.
your book, then it helps with their healing as well. And so I
Right.
want to
Exactly.
commend you on this project because I know from personal experience, when you're writing your own story, it's like you're reliving
Exactly.
the
Exactly.
entire event again or
Exactly.
again, and you're gonna cry and go through
Hmm.
all of these emotions. You know,
Yes.
what I call that's your cleansing, that's your healing, because you're finally like really dealing with it on a one-on-one basis as you're
Right.
writing. It's coming out of you, and now it's going to be used as a tool to help others. So
Exactly. Exactly.
I think that that's awesome. And again, I commend you on that. And so also, I hear that this is not your first book. You have an additional book that you worked in a collaboration. Is that correct?
Yes.
So
Yes.
tell us about that. How did that work out, and how did you get started into a collaboration?
Well, basically, on actually on social media, I was just interested in, one of the groups that they had, and basically, it's like about grief and different things of loss that we go through.
Mm-hmm.
And I lost both of my parents are deceased now,
Mm.
and I lost my mom in 2019. My dad passed in 2010.
Mm.
Um, so the book is like Joy Comes in the Morning, and it's about, like I just mentioned, it's about grief. It's about, and grief is not just always death. It could be the loss of a job. It could be divorce. It
Right.
could be, a
It's
lot of
a
different things
loss.
that you lose.
Right. It's a loss.
It's just a loss. And I wrote, each author, it's like 89 authors,
Mm.
and we all got like a page and a half. So
Mm-hmm.
I kind of dedicated that to my mom, and my mother suffered dementia.
Mm.
So
Mm.
basically, I wrote about how or what strategies I used to help her,
Right.
during
Right.
that time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And hopefully, because that's very common too now, dementia, that's all you hear.
Yeah.
Everybody's, for whatever reason, is coming down with dementia.
Yes. I've noticed that too.
Hmm.
My grandmother, I call her my grandmother, but she's my great aunt, and
Hmm.
she had dementia as well. And so I understand
Hmm.
what that is and how it attacks, the mind, the body, and
Right.
it's a struggle on both sides. It really
And
is.
with dementia, you kind of grieve, and that's another thing too with dementia. I'll say my experience.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I grieved my mom before she passed. If you understand that,
I do. I
and
do.
what I'm saying, like, because I lost a mom I knew. You know what
Right.
I mean? Like,
Right.
right. So I was grieving through the
And-
whole process of 10 years she had it. So during
Right.
that time, to see your loved one slowly declining, and
Yeah.
at one point they don't know you, they
Right.
smile when they see you, but
Mhm.
they really don't know your name.
Right.
um
Right.
and that hurts, but I had to just kind of, wow, condition myself like this is the new mom,
Yes.
um
Yes.
love her for how she is right now. This is who she is now.
Yes. Yes. Well,
you know
you are a strong, strong woman. I can
Thank you.
feel that, And I just, I commend you on your strength
Hmm.
and what you've gone through, and you're still standing strong. You're still, doing what you need to do to make this life. And so
Hmm.
the books that you've written are, they come from your heart. And
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
and so people can feel that,
Right.
they can, and they can relate to that. And so I hope that you continue to write books, where people are, it's about situations and things like that.
Right. Well, anything, like, I think for me, and because you, like I said, you see people going through things, and that's what I wanted to bring out as well. When I tell you over 50%, I would say even over 60% of
Hmm.
the people that I shared my book with or mentioned my story, people that I've known for years.
Yes.
Oh, that makes me think of me, people that have never told me that. And it's like,
Yeah.
because domestic violence is a stigma, it's an embarrassment, it's a
Right.
shame.
Right.
It's shameful. And even for me, and I know part of why I didn't finish the book when I wanted to,
Right.
because you don't want people to judge you,
Right.
or
Right.
why you didn't leave. That's the first thing people say. You don't know. Every situation in domestic violence is different.
It is.
You
It
don't know, would this person have weapons? You don't know. And I did have a very dangerous uh, mate that I was with.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm.
it wasn't about just Kim leaving. If I left, guess what? He knows where my family lived.
Right.
Because
Right.
when you do that, when you, unfortunately, you pick the wrong person, you've included your family.
Right.
They
Right.
kind of target who, to get to you, to get to them.
Right.
So every
Right.
situation in that is different. But like I
It
said,
is.
you just can't tell a woman to leave or a man to leave. You don't know what the whole
what
situation
they're
entails.
going what they're going through. And
Right.
I had another guest that spoke on this particular topic, and
Hmm.
one of the things that she spoke about was leaving a really violent situation. And she
Hmm.
spoke about how she developed a plan, and she just took that plan, step by step until, she completed her goal. And so when you talk about that, nobody knows what to do, because nobody
No.
expects to be in that situation.
Exactly.
And so
Exactly.
that's what, it's easy to say, oh, you know what, I would just leave
Hmm.
right
And a
away.
lot of people say that, and that makes people shut down. You know what I
Right,
mean?
because you
When people
can't
are in
say
that,
that.
yeah,
Hmm.
you make a person shut down.
Right, right. You can't say that because you don't know. You don't know
Right.
what you would do in that situation. You're
Until
saying
you're in it.
you would do in somebody else's situation, but
Exactly.
you're not.
Exactly.
You don't have those feelings and emotions that that person has. So it's easy to say, oh, well, you need to do this or you need to do that. But um, the first step in any type of violent trauma situation is to admit that it is a violent trauma situation to
Exactly.
yourself. To yourself,
Hmm.
it's bad, but you have it's a mind game. It turns into a mind
Right.
game.
Well, that's basically what it really is. They, kind
Feeling,
of like a brainwashing, so to speak.
right. Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Hmm.
Wow. Well, you know what? It's been really interesting. This is a very, very serious topic. And I think that not only on this show, but this is something that you need to continue to, promote and push.
Oh,
So,
I've done, thank God I've done a lot of, interviews and been on symposiums. And of course, I want to, of course, make my book profitable for me, but I really want to help, and like I said, I'm on so many social media platforms, and what I'm seeing, even like my daughter laughs, because I'm on TikTok more than she is, but I love TikTok. I do. She's like, Mom, but I am. But a lot of young women are on there sharing their stories. And it
Mm,
makes me think of me at that age.
right,
Like,
right,
oh my God, like, wow,
right. And you know what else too? I'm just gonna put this out there that a lot of this is hereditary. It's it comes from
right. That's true.
whatever, our culture, we are all victims. Our culture is victims of abuse. And I'm not
Right.
making excuses, but as a culture, we come from an abusive situation.
Right, exactly.
And
And
so,
that's very true. In the book, that's what I wanted to bring out too. I kind of focus, or the start of the book is like my childhood. And a lot of things happen in your childhood that cause you to make the wrong decisions as well.
mhm,
Now I'm not saying it like blaming my parents or everything, but I'm just a
right,
point I'm making. Um, you go, because I grew up in a time where, like you just mentioned, we got whooped with this and that happened, and
right.
um, you know, I went through had a lot of dysfunction in my family, and I know that attributes to a lot of my low self esteem because that's what they target, people with low self esteem,
Mm,
abusers,
right.
and that's my focus, now, like, to
Mhm.
help girls at
Yes,
my age, at that age, even like I would even start like elementary school of
yes,
boosting their self esteem so that
yes.
they wouldn't allow a person like that to talk to them or somebody that's,
Exactly.
like that.
Right, right. And that's where it starts. And it also seeing how their parents relate,
Right. Hmm.
helps them. It instills in them what type of family that they want to have. They mimic what they see.
Exactly. Exactly.
When people, if you don't think that your life is a videotape to your kids or on video, you're actually on live video with your kids
Right.
24/7. They're
24/7.
recording everything, and
Exactly.
good and the bad and the ugly.
No,
And
that's true.
it
That's so
is.
true.
And so what happens is some of that goes away. It's stored into a memory bank and it comes out way later.
Yes.
And so that is really good that you're doing that. Like I'm just so happy that you have written this book, that you are out talking to people about that on social,
Right.
because that only helps heal people when they're responding to you and telling you their story. They're already cleansing themselves.
Exactly.
There's a healing happening, because it's like, look, I can talk about this, I can type something about this and
Right.
relieve my mind of something, because here's somebody who understands. And
And
so,
that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. It's like, but I met, like I said, one of my friends, I've been knowing her probably, I'll say at least 10 years.
mm-hmm,
And when I reached out to her about the book, and she said, "Oh my gosh," she said, "that makes me think of this guy." And I'm like, wow, as
yeah,
long as I've known her, she's never shared that. But like I said, it's opening the door,
right,
because you
right.
feel like you just said, you're not by yourself. You can
Right.
relate, you know.
How do you start talking about that? It's a vulnerable place. And so,
Right. And that's what I want to bring. And it's like a friend that I work with. Now, when I tell you, because when I wrote the book, I had like a book signing and I had it on a Saturday, and a lot of my friends had finished on Sunday because they couldn't put the book down. But
wow,
a friend at work, she was like telling me the story play by play. I said, "You really read that book?" Because people say they read it, but you like, did you
right.
really, read it? And she was like, "No, I play." She said, "I pay attention to everything." And she literally asked me questions about the book, and I'm like, "You really read? You
Wow.
really read the book?"
That's
She's like, "No."
awesome.
Right.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So
That is really, really good. And so now with the collaboration that you did, let me just ask you really quick, how was it to uh, work with 89 people? I mean, you guys had a focus and you guys each did your project and then it just came together. Is that how it works?
It did. In fact, that book, now that one is an Amazon bestseller. It got on the Amazon list.
Uh-huh.
Um, but it
Wow.
was basically a lot of the book composed of pastors, ministers, mostly clergy, a lot of servicemen, service women.
Nice.
And basically we just kind of, and everything was done virtually, you know what I mean? But you still had the Zoom meeting, so you met people.
Right.
Um, and kind of went from there. Like I said, some women, their stories about maybe surviving breast cancer, what
Mhm.
they went through, or
Mhm.
some type of illness. And like I
Right.
mentioned, my mom with her dementia, and
Right.
it's just such a vast, things that people talked about in the book.
Right.
But like I said, it's that many authors, so it's something for you to read, like, you know,
Right.
months and months.
Well, Kim, I'm gonna close our meeting today. Thank you so much
You're
for
welcome, and thank you again. I appreciate it.
being on the show. And so if people want to get your book, we're gonna have a notation. You said Twisted Love is available on Cash App at Kim Got This. That's
Yes,
the Cash App number. Okay, so I'm gonna put that information on, and I'm definitely gonna order a copy of Twisted
I hope so.
Love so that I can read that as well.
Okay,
Enjoy the rest of your day, and
and you do the same.
thank you again. Take care, my sister. I'll see
Okay,
you
all
soon.
right.
All
Thank
right.
you. Bye
Bye-bye.
bye.